Hey everyone, it's Carolyn. Welcome to the channel. Today I have another unboxing video for you, and I'm going to be unboxing the Tarot of Oppositions. So for today's review, I'm going to be letting you know what the guidebook looks like, how informative it is. I'm going to be going through the cards and showing you the artwork so you can see if it's something that connects with you. I'll also let you know my first impressions on how it reads and how it shuffles, and I'll give you my final thoughts on who I think this deck is best for and if you should get it. And so I hope you find this review helpful. I'm also going to have my playlist linked in the cards above that you can watch after this. It's my entire playlist on all the tarot and oracle decks I have reviewed. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I would love to have you a part of this family. I post new videos every single week, including more unboxing and reviews like this, but I also post readings, so I do pick-a pile readings, zodiac readings, and collective readings, and I also post educational videos so that I can help you on your spiritual journeys. So my first impressions on this box, I think it's really sturdy. It feels really well made. If you store your cards in boxes, I definitely feel like this is going to last a long time. When I lifted open the lid, I did get a little bit confused because the box itself, it's very tall on the inside. I thought that was the cards themselves, so I was trying to lift that for a moment, and then I realized that the cards and the guidebook were placed inside that. So the box on the inside is very tall. It was more than what I expected, but I definitely feel like this is going to keep your cards well protected, and I love the details of it. So what I think is interesting about the artwork of this box is because this is the Tarot of Opposition, each card has the more light attributes of the card, and then the bottom of the card has the darker attributes of the card. And so the lid that opens to the box, this is showing the light attributes, and on the sides it has the light attributes on top. And then on the inside of the box, that is the dark attributes, and on the sides you can see those same cards are flipped over, where it has a dark attribute on top and then the lighter attribute on the bottom. And so I really like that small little detail on the box itself. So you have the Tarot of Oppositions, the opposing forces of the universal structure, you have the harmony of opposites, then you have interpreting light and shadow, and you have a tarot spread here, it looks like. And then you have a reading example. And here you have the major arcana. So you have the major arcana, and then you have a little bit about them, then you have the positive and the negative. So when I said earlier the light attributes and the darker attributes, it's the positive and the negative about the card. And then for the minor cards, it's pretty much the same, except instead of having a little bit about the cards and then the positive and negative, it only has the positive and negative meanings. So my first impressions of the guidebook is that it's really good. I find that it is informative. I feel like this is a great deck and guidebook to have if you're wanting to learn reversals, because it shows you the positive and the negative of each of the cards. I would say it's a really good deck if you want to think about different perspectives and different meanings with the tarot cards and really understand things in a way that you haven't done before. I would say that if you're a beginner, you could definitely get this deck and it would be really good for you, but I don't feel like it's the most in-depth deck. The passages for the guidebooks are very short, so while it is good to give you an idea to think about or to understand the cards slightly better, I feel like there's other decks and guidebooks for people who are brand new to this, who are truly beginners and have no outside knowledge. I would say this is a great guidebook if you are wanting to learn reversals and you have a base knowledge of tarot, or if you're someone where you're learning tarot, you're going to use the guidebook, but then you're also going to learn with other sources outside of just this guidebook alone. Like I said, it's very good and it serves its purpose for this deck well, but alone with the guidebook, I wouldn't say I necessarily recommend this for a new beginner who has no other knowledge of tarot. I'm sure that there are people where this was their first deck and you can make it work. It definitely has a lot of information in it. It's just not as in-depth as I feel like some beginners may need. So just remember that when looking to see if this is the deck for you. If you have some knowledge on tarot, definitely go ahead and get it, especially if you want to learn reversals. But if not, if reversals overwhelm you, or if you're very new to tarot and you haven't done any other research, I would definitely look at that before you take on this deck. So when you first look at the cards, you have the card that says Tarot of Oppositions, and then this is what the back of the cards look like. I think it's really pretty. It's very simple, but gives the energy of the positive and the negative with the sun and the moon. So now we have the cards themselves. So I'm going to start the flip through, but as you can see on the top there's the positive and on the bottom there's the negative. I love the Magician card. I love the fact that, like, on the positive card, he looks like more self-assured, very calculated, like he knows what he's doing, like it has a purpose. Whereas the negative card, he looks almost like he's taking a risk or taking a gamble with the dice in his hand. I definitely want to read the guidebook for this card because I know what the Seven of Swords means in tarot, but I'm not really understanding that from the artwork, and so I want to read the guidebook and see if that helps me understand this new perspective. So I love the images on this deck. I love the duality of the cards showing the positive and the negative. I think they interact with each other very well. I do want to say that some of the cards and the images were a little bit graphic, so definitely keep that in mind. If you are someone where you don't like that type of imagery, I wouldn't recommend this deck for you. But if you're okay with that and you can overlook it, I think the concept of these cards is very stunning. I think it's very cohesive and definitely fits the energy of oppositions, but they flow together. So I feel like if you were someone where not only do you read with your knowledge of tarot, but you also mix it with your intuition, I think you're going to get a really powerful message because of the duality of the card. And I feel like because the way the cards are drawn, if you're new to reversals, I definitely feel like this is going to make it so much easier to understand it, because it's not taking the card and putting the opposite meaning of it. This is definitely a deck in which it's showing the positive and the negative of each card. So it's not like they're saying the negative meaning is the complete opposite of what the card traditionally means. They're looking at the cards like if you take the Eight of Swords, instead of taking the traditional image in which you have a person tied up but they're able to escape and they're the ones keeping themselves trapped, and instead of having the opposite message then be someone who's completely free, it shows the duality of the card in which the positive image is someone who was trapped, realized that they had an escape and they took it, and the negative part of the card shows someone who is still trapped by themselves, by their negative thoughts. And so it shows the different energy of both the positive and the negative of the card itself, and not trying to do the opposite of what the card means. I hope that I'm explaining that correct. I feel like if you really look and study the artwork, you're going to pick up on what I'm meaning, especially those of you who already know tarot. And that's why I feel like this is going to be a really good deck for those of you where you're trying to understand reversals, because it's not trying to get it where you're thinking of the opposite message. It's trying to get you to think of the duality of the card itself. So I just got done shuffling the cards, and I think they shuffle really easily. They're really good. The cards do have a little bit of a slip to them, which makes it easier for them to shuffle. I do want to say that if you were someone where you are a tarot reader, or you're filming yourself or recording or taking pictures of the cards in some way, there is going to be a glare if a light source is hitting them because of the lamination they have on them, which definitely helps when shuffling, but it can make it harder if you have lights around you. So just be cautious of that for those of you where you are taking photos or videos of your cards. But I feel like the cards shuffle really beautifully. I feel like both the overhand shuffle and the riffle shuffle work good for this deck. It is the size of an average tarot deck, and so if you've shuffled tarot cards before, I would say whatever method you're using will work for these cards. So I went ahead and I just read with this deck. I found that it read really nicely. It was easy for me to understand. I found that the guidebook was very informative when I did double check with it. I feel like this is a really great deck, again, for those of you who want to learn reversals and what they mean. I feel like this is a really good deck if you are wanting to understand duality and the complexity of the cards. I feel like this really does a good job of explaining the nuances in things, and how everything, no matter which card it is, has a positive and a negative meaning. And so I like the balance of that. I would say that if this is something that intrigues you, I would definitely recommend the deck. I would say that if you are someone where you have been wanting this deck for a while, definitely go ahead and purchase it. Like I said, the only thing I would be cautious of is some of the images are a little bit graphic, so just keep that in mind. But other than that, I would highly recommend this deck. I'm really glad to have it a part of my collection because I love duality. And so I feel like this is going to be a deck that I use for a bunch of different things. And so let me know if you found this review helpful. If you did, let me know in the YouTube comments down below if you own this deck or if you're going to purchase it. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and share with others who might be interested in this deck. Like I said, I'm going to have my playlist linked in the cards above for more tarot and oracle unboxings. I'm also going to have other videos linked in the cards above that you can watch after this one. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. I would love to have you a part of this family. Make sure you turn on that bell notification so you don't miss out when I post my next video. I can't wait to see you all there. I hope you have a good one. Bye.